The Plea today backed. Sturgeon demands urgent showdown with Boris to open doors to refugees. Nicola Sturgeon and Ian Blackford have called for an urgent four-nation summit on refugee resettlement in the UK following the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. Mr. Blackford said it was crucial that the UK government worked with the devolved governments and showed leadership by opening our doors and providing safe routes for resettlement. The SNP Westminster leader also called for the UK government to reverse its cuts to international aid and play a leading role in funding and supporting humanitarian efforts to save lives and protect the human rights of women and girls. He made the plea today backed by First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, who pledged the Scottish government was willing to play our full part to help Afghan refugees fleeing the horrifying situation in their country. The Skye and Lochaber MP added, "The appalling situation in Afghanistan is one of the biggest foreign policy failures in modern times, and the UK government bears its share of responsibility. The war in Afghanistan has been underway for more than 10 years. It has not been the only war fought during this time. For 7 of those years another, larger war was waged in Iraq, and smaller conflicts were underway in a number of other countries as well. But the Afghanistan war is still the longest large-scale, multi-divisional war fought in American history. An American soldier's killing of 16 Afghan civilians, including 9 children, on March 11 represents only a moment in this long war, but it is an important moment. Scotland stands ready to play its full part in resettling refugees and tackling the humanitarian crisis. It is vital that the UK government works with the devolved governments and shows leadership, including by opening our doors and providing safe routes for resettlement." Mr. Blackford highlighted work by Canadian authorities who said they had welcomed a flight full of refugees from Afghanistan. Canada's immigration body said it will assist in resettling 20,000 Afghans threatened by the Islamist group. He continued, "There is no question that the UK must also commit to leadership on this scale. The Tory government's cuts to international aid must be reversed, and the UK must play a leading role in funding and supporting humanitarian efforts to save lives, promote peace and protect human rights, especially those of women and girls, with a specific fund dedicated to the Afghanistan humanitarian crisis. The immediate priority must be to do everything we can to protect lives, but in time there must also be a chance to review how the UK's involvement in Afghanistan went so badly wrong. The UK government must commit to a future judge-led inquiry into the war in Afghanistan to ensure full scrutiny, accountability and lessons learned." However, the SNP-led Scottish Government have come under pressure from the Scottish Greens to use its Humanitarian Emergency Fund to aid Afghans fleeing the Taliban. The fund was established in 2016 to provide effective assistance to reduce the threat to life and well-being in emergency situations. In a letter to External Affairs Secretary Angus Robertson, Scottish Greens International Development spokesperson Maggie Chapman and External Affairs spokesperson Ross Greer called for Scottish ministers to consider how emergency funding could be deployed to assist the people of Afghanistan and those who have been forced to flee. Ms. Chapman, a North East Scotland MSP, added, "The pictures and stories coming out of Afghanistan are heartbreaking. We must open our hearts and our doors to those who need safety, and the Scottish Greens endorse the First Minister's call for the UK government should accept more refugees. It's clear the Scottish government must do all it can to help these people who are fleeing for their lives, so while immigration is reserved, the Scottish government could utilise its Humanitarian Emergency Fund. It is hard to envisage a circumstance more sadly fitting of its criteria." A Scottish Government spokesperson said, "We call on all involved to ensure humanitarian access for those in need in Afghanistan, and to avoid further violence. We are deeply concerned about the risks posed to civilian lives. We urgently call on the UK government and international community to consider urgently how civilians, especially women, girls and those seeking refuge, can be protected. We are in discussions with our humanitarian partners about what more can be done to support those in need. As we did with refugees from Syria, the Scottish Government is willing to play our full part and do all we can to help those in peril." The UK Government has been approached for comment.